welcome to CHIT CHAT with T. I'm your host, Miss T. Let's get right into it. So welcome to today's podcast. Again, friends, today I want to talk about something that is popping and hot all over social media, and that's about Mr. Derrick Jaxn. Mr. Derrick Jaxn, okay? That's Jaxn. All right? So if you don't know, I'm going to fill you in. Derrick Jaxn is a well-known relationship coach. Majority of his following is made up of women. Okay, because he speaks about different aspects as relating to relationships, on how women should be treated and what women should do and how we should move in these streets when it comes to men. Okay, and he's the one that speaks to on how we develop healthy relationships with men. Okay, so now that you know that, so basically, roll back just a little bit, real short, sweet. That thing came out, and I don't. First of all, I've listened to him a couple times, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But then I just noticed his following has been building over the years, right? But I did a little bit of research and just to find out kind of the background on this particular man and his wife. And so, what triggered all of this background work is because they went through something last year, because there was like in 2021 there was a whole, I believe it was last year, there was a whole cheating scandal, right? I'm sure everybody, right, was around, and I believe Tasha K came out and she basically, as you know, the exclusive, all right, she had the exclusive, and she revealed that that Derrick had been messing around with this woman. But let's move on past that really quick. Moving forward, Danai, his wife, she forgave him. They joined together and they came out on Instagram and gave a whole heartwarming, heart-filling speech, this, that, and the third, that they were going to work on their marriage. And of course, they referenced God, this, that, and the third. Okay. And that's what happened. Now, the thing about it, she was kind of, and the weird part about it is people kind of, gave the wife Danai a hard time. Well, it's because of her parents. And just be clear, Danai is a beautiful woman, but she clearly either didn't care or she was going through a lot. So she didn't quite dress the role or look the part like most women would, because there's no way I would have got it from the camera like that. But she did. She had the little red, just that and the third. So people gave her a hard time. He's over there sitting there with his not glasses, but a nice haircut and nice sweater, chain on, blah, blah, blah. And it was a whole thing. And it was very clear, just even from sitting watching them then, that their relationship was very, very unhealthy. Just watching that, not even knowing all of the details, you could tell it just wasn't quite right. And just no shade on them, it's just they're just struggling. So they're just a struggling couple. But speaking to that video, okay, I'm sure you've heard and you've seen it. Anyway, back then, Danai had filed, prior to them sitting on their couch, she had already filed for divorce, and she left him. And she had been gone for like 6 months, okay? But then, for whatever reason, she decided to forgive him, and she decided to come back home. Okay, you think, okay, cool. Apparently, she saw a change. I'm assuming, I don't know for sure. Apparently, maybe they went to counseling and they tried again. Young couple, young family, okay? So they probably trying to make it work for the kids. Okay? Moving on now, forward. Got all that, boom, boom, boom. Now we're here, okay? Now, the nail came out, I believe it was a week or two. I put a video about that. Check that out. She came out and she put a curse out on those who, basically the haters and those who spoke ill of her marriage, this, that, and the third. And she used the word of God to do it. Now that's the only thing. Now the only thing I was like, now Danai, about that, to me, in that case, I've already put a video about that too. But in that case, to me, if your marriage is solid and or solidified or whatever, how you want to word, you want to put it, if it was good and you wasn't doing anything, why even come out and say anything about it, right? Just do y'all. Okay, that's what I thought about that. But nevertheless, she did, and she got a lot of backlash about that. Okay, but moving on, and actually, before we move on, that video, when she came out and she did that video, I knew there was a problem. Right? I mean, not just with their marriage, but I knew, in my opinion, that Danai was struggling. And I mean, not just people, oh, she's blah, blah, blah. I mean, she was struggling. Like, there was something really going on with them. And she was really struggling with her relationship with her husband. It was very clear. Not just, and so she was kind of saying, "Don't be a hater," but yeah, you know what I mean. You can't control all the women in the world. You need to address your husband. But nevertheless, here we are now, and everyone knows where there's smoke, there's a fire, and so here we are now today. So basically, Derrick Jaxn just came out, I believe it's a couple of days ago, and just said, "Hey, we've decided to go our separate ways, this, that, and the third," and he gave this whole situation. Nevertheless, there's a lot of rumors, a lot of videos, and I'm knocking anyone. I'm just simply stating what it is. A lot of information out there saying that he filed the divorce. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but he filed for the divorce. But actually, what happened is that he came out, he was speaking to the divorce. It didn't necessarily mean he actually filed the divorce, okay? Information that I have is that Danai filed the paperwork. All right, and that's important. So I'm going to get into an article that provided all this good information. Great blogger, and her name is Kate. It was published December 10th, and I just want to get into it. I thought she hit some good points. I want to share a little bit of it, and then I'm going to give a quick commentary. Well, not a quick commentary, but I'm going to give my thoughts. So the title of her blog is called Relationship Coach Derrick Jaxn's Wife Files for Divorce 1 year after cheating scandal. Again, it was by Kate. And give Kate her props. A very well-written article, okay? All right. So she kind of goes into last year, social media star and relationship guru Derrick Jaxn, who has 1.3 million Instagram followers, confessed to having multiple affairs after fans uncovered his indiscretions and put him on blast. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, do you? Now, a media takeout has learned that his wife has finally, decided to leave him after defending him on social media and cursing some of the fans who pointed out Derrick Jaxn's hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Good word. Okay? Derrick Jaxn, who preaches healing and healthy relationships, took to Instagram last year to confess in a video in which his wife, Danai Jaxn, also appeared. Right? Remember, then I kind of already touched on that. Okay, so moving past all of that. The truth is, Derrick Jaxn was involved with other women outside the marriage, he said to the camera, speaking about himself in the third person. All of it falls under the category of cheating, affairs, stepping out. Okay? All right. The video, dubbed cringeworthy by fans, has amassed 2.6 million views one day on Instagram, another 600,000 views on YouTube, and 500,000 on Facebook. And again, information was published that was on the 10th, which was December 10th, 2022. Okay, adds up, right? At that time, Danai defended her husband and her marriage. But eventually she decided that she's done with the cheater. Well, that's all changed. All right, let's get into the juice. If you learned this long, let's get into it. So media takeout confirmed that Danai filed to divorce Derrick 2 months ago. And see, did y'all hear that? Media takeout confirmed that Danai filed to divorce Derrick 2 months ago, as in 2022. Derrick officially announced the split on IG today. Right, so he announced it, but she had already filed 2 months ago. All right. Just want to get that out there. I'm hearing different things, and here we go. Derrick explained to his fans. Here we go. Let's get into the juice. Over the past several months, my family and I have gone through many changes. Well, yeah, I'm sure. Some of you have speculated, while others of you have reached out to offer support as we privately establish this new normal of ourselves and our beautiful children. The speculation, right? And this is where I really was into this, and I was feeling what Kate, the blogger, Mr. Kate, was saying. The speculation of Derrick is talking about are the multiple side chicks, okay, that came forward to expose the relationship experts' hypocrisy and narcissism, okay? Narcissism, excuse me, and keyword hypocrisy, all right? Derrick Jaxn continued, earlier this year, after much prayer, counseling, and deep consideration, we decided to go our separate ways and file for divorce. And that's the problem part of this, is he's saying they probably decided to do that, but Danai had already decided. Making the decision to file was one of the hardest decisions of my life, but I found peace knowing that our mission of raising healthy children, starting with healthy and whole parents, is still being accomplished. Yeah, because it is still being, for sure. From falling in love as just teenagers to becoming spouses and, and now co-parents. I'm grateful for the years we've spent together and wouldn't change them for anything. I was blessed to have such an amazing person in my life and will forever be thankful for all she's meant to our family. Okay, and here's the thing of the gist of it all, of the actual, before this particular blogger says, again, I'm really into what she said, I'm digging it, okay? But what Derrick is saying isn't true. The decision was not his. Derrick's wife is the one who filed for divorce, according to an insider. Okay, now I just want to touch it a little bit and say this. People gave Danai a hard time. We talked about, she came out, she did the whole cursing everybody, spells, this, that, and the third. And to me, that was saying she needed help. I felt like she needed help. She was saying, I need help. Not saying she's cuckoo or anything, not really. More so, in my opinion, you could just clearly see she was going through a lot, and to me, it was a cry of desperation. Right? That's what I've heard. I could be wrong, and you could feel different, and that's okay. You're welcome to your opinion. But in my opinion, even when I just think it sounds like I said, it sounds like this has been going on the entire marriage, allegedly. It sounds like this has been going on the entire marriage. Okay, all right, and this falls into the category of mental health and emotional abuse. Okay? Because if you don't know just the basic of just looking it up, just look it up for yourself, how he's been cheating and she's been taking him back and she's been putting up for whatever her reasons are, whether to try to keep her family together, whether to try to keep her kids, probably, I would think, because I can imagine trying to keep him in the house, making sure, wanting the kids to have her dad there and keeping the family together, especially being, allegedly, I read somewhere that she is a Christian. So she clearly wanted to keep her family together. Who wouldn't want their family to stay together? But when it's time, it's just time. And when you're sick and tired, you should be sick and tired. But in this case, most people don't want to really get into it. But listen, there is definitely signs of emotional abuse. People don't realize when one of the partners continuously has affairs or, whatever, keep breaking the trust bond and the other things probably we just don't even know anything about, and we don't need to know anything about them, right? It's between her and him and the counselor and whoever and whatever, okay? But it just appears that there was a lot of emotional abuse, okay? And whether it be him just pulling himself away from her and dismissing her feelings and just run around on her. That messes with any, not just a woman's psyche, any partner that you're with, that's going to mess with their psyche. Because it says, you're not good enough. I want to be over here with such and such. And I'm going to keep, and then you are also, in your actual career, which your bread and butter, your dinero, getting started, I'm sorry, is based on you teaching women, mostly majority, I'm sure there's some men in there, how to move in relationships. So the hypocrisy is definitely a big word and a true word here. So this is how much you're teaching other women how not to put up with, and basically don't put up with emotional abuse. But yet that's what you're doing at your house. That's what you were doing with your spouse. So this is not really a beat down even on Derrick, but it just says and shows how unhealthy their relationship. And I know they're saying, hey, we didn't say we were perfect, but I hear that. But still, you're trying to teach other people how and what to do and how to move, but yet you yourself isn't living up to that standard. Duh. Okay. But anyway, I honestly don't. I hate to hear that she's going through this. And again, when she came out again with that spell and all of that, I know we kind of made light of it a little bit, this, that, and the third. But listen, that said so much. Really, I was just like, wow. That I was thinking to myself, she is really hurting. Or that's what I heard. For real. I heard she's really hurting and she needs help. And so I don't know what this is gonna do to his career. I'm sure he has a big following. So here's a following, don't come from me. I'm just stating what's obvious, stating some facts, and also sharing my opinion, okay? But I'm kind of no, I don't. I'm for marriage, so I'm not saying that I hope that they end it or anything like that. I was hoping they could work through it. But if you have one party that just doesn't want to do it, like he sounds like he's just not happy. He don't want to be with her for whatever reason. Um, sounds like he just don't want to be with her. That's what it sounds like. Now this could be a sign of serial cheater, allegedly. I'm saying it could be. So don't come for me. It could be a sign of a serial cheater. Or he just wasn't happy with her and didn't want to be with her. Nothing against her. She's a beautiful woman. But that's not where he really wants to be. He just wasn't gonna be happy anyway. He was going to always be looking for something. And then more than likely it could just be he needs help. He needs to go seek help for himself. And he may not even see that. He may see that I'm just not happy. So I don't know what they've done so far as counseling goes. I don't know if they separately went to counseling, but it's very clear that it's needed. They both need it separately and together because they need to be able to be co-parents for those babies. And um, other thing I can say about them, I did notice on social media, I was looking through, it looks like they did a good job of covering their kids' faces. I know that sounds small and insignificant, but that's actually huge because they've been very, their lives are very public. And people, when you're public, people they're open to all kinds of criticism and scrutiny. So I think that was a good way to go on that. But for as Derrick goes, again, I had never really listened to much to Derrick Jaxn. I heard a couple videos, and I ain't gonna lie, my whole first observation was, okay, it's a good looking man. Okay, I'm here for that. That's the truth, because he's easy on the eyes. So he's gonna pull more women in. He just is. And what he was saying, some of the stuff he was saying was just basic common, almost basic common sense. But you need to hear sometimes. And there's no shade on anyone who's following him, reading his books, or he's mentoring. No shade on anyone else. He's just simply saying that we follow these people, and you don't know what's really happening in their house. You don't know. You only know what is the perception that is provided or set up online. That's all you know. You don't know what the real tea is. Okay? And then lastly, I know this is long. Last piece of this, probably should have been the first piece, is that one of the real takeaways that I thought was noteworthy of this entire relationship, that it says that as a woman or as a human being, you shouldn't. It's nothing wrong with getting married. Marriage is awesome, okay? But listen, you should never, ever, 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 ever lose yourself in any relationship where you are on the back burner, or you are being mistreated, or you're not number one, and you're not able to care for yourself properly. And I'm not talking about just physical care and nails and hair. I mean emotionally and mentally as well. Okay, because the outside, when she was sitting on the couch, it was screaming things, not just because she didn't put the hair on and all of that. What it said is that I either don't have enough energy, I don't care, or I'm too sad to do it. Because she's pretty. She's very pretty. I'm speaking about Danai, not even speaking about the new woman. And then also you look and see Mr. Jaxn has a new woman. No shade to her. I hope that all works out for real. But I don't know if I would want to deal with someone that is allegedly a pronounced cheater. But kudos to her. She's like a pretty young lady as well. But there's so many ways to go about this and to look at this and view this. And again, this is not a bashing or anything like that. It's just looking at the family structure and looking at relationships and saying, what can we learn from this couple and what they've been through? And what I see is that we should learn to definitely, truly, 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 truly have self love and not let anyone come and pull you away from you loving on you and loving you yourself, right? Not just before the children, but for your own sound mind. Not just for the children, but for your own sound mind. Because even if you didn't have children, you should be able to love yourself deeply and enough to not allow or put up with someone mistreating you and clearly taking your love, time, and your youth. Let's be clear, your youth for granted. Okay? So I think my biggest, or our biggest, one of the biggest lessons I got out of this is, and not per se a lesson, but just a reminder for me, but you should definitely not allow yourself to drift away. So I'm hoping, and my hope for her, Miss Danai, is that I'm sure she's praying and all of that because she's a believer. That's what I saw online. I'm assuming she is that she finds herself and gets her stuff back because basically she gave up her stuff. Now that sounds weird to some, but some will get it and some won't. She gave up her stuff, so hopefully she can get her stuff back. Okay, because you should never allow anyone to steal your stuff. And I can't remember exactly where I heard that. I think it was a movie from years ago, and also probably a couple books I've read, but about allowing someone to take your stuff, literally almost your soul, right? The very being, taking, snatching it, and all wrapped up in that is your confidence, your spirit, your love, all of that. No one should be able to take it away. That is yours, not a man. In other words, you shouldn't. You should love yourself enough to not be a doormat for anybody. Period. Okay. Because there's a line and there's just so much you need to do. And once you've given someone all you can give them and love them, and they still turn and keep turning and keep doing and blah blah blah, I don't even condone. I don't want anybody just running like divorces, but that's the time to go. You've done all you can do, then you might need to check yourself and go, no, wait, I've done all I can do here. This man don't want to be here, clearly, and you can't make anyone be what they don't want to be. So that's really my 2-3 cents, more like my more like 10 cents today, but on this situation, this matter. I know it was a longer podcast. I hope you were able to get things done. And those are just my thoughts. They're kind of a little bit all over the place for the most part. It's just speaking to basically the bottom line is that Derrick Jaxn spoke on having healthy relationships, but yet his relationship, his foundation, his main relationship with his wife and kids, I don't know about his kids per se, but it can't be that great of a thing with his wife. His relationship was unhealthy. So how can you speak from an unhealthy place about healthiness? It's the point, and it pretty much is the gist of what I'm saying. Okay, so let me know what you think. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening, please feel free to drop down in the comments. I don't mind you sharing opinions, even if your opinions don't agree with my opinions. That's great. Just be respectful, and please do share. Your opinions and your thoughts are welcome here. Okay, all right. As I always say, we can't change anyone else. We only can change ourselves. Focus on the things that you can control and not on the things you can't. I will be back with another one. Don't forget, subscribe, like the video if you're on YouTube, okay, and leave a comment to let me know you are here, okay? Thank you.